We've seen World War I and World War II in history books, right? Well, the idea of a World War III isn't just a matter of if it will happen, but rather when it might happen. Lately, there's been a sense of unease in the world, like something big could go wrong soon. Imagine this. Someone messes up and launches a nuclear weapon. The country it's aimed at retaliates, alarms blare, and suddenly martial law is declared. Borders slam shut and the economy tanks. What you had in your bank account? Well, now the government owns it. Basic stuff like a can of sardines or toilet paper becomes super expensive, way more than the latest iPhone. Some people might think they can handle themselves in a crisis, but the truth is, it's tough to come up with a plan when everything is falling apart around you. Billionaires and millionaires are well aware of the potential for a World War III, and many of them are already taking steps to improve their chances of survival. Here are 7 strategies that wealthy individuals use to prepare for such a scenario. Welcome to LOYD, a platform where aspiring future billionaires find inspiration. First up, multiple citizenships through international investments. Did you know that wealthy individuals can actually hold passports from more than one country? This is a smart move because if things get really tough, like during a war, and you lose access to your usual financial services, you need a plan to get yourself and your family to safety. Where do you go when your country is in crisis? Well, citizens are typically allowed to return to their home countries, even during martial law. This is called repatriation. That's one reason why, in the past couple of decades, the ultra-rich have been investing in citizenship through programs like investor or golden visa programs. Here's how it works. You invest a hefty sum, usually between $500,000 to $5 million, in a country, and they grant you citizenship. This means you can own property, have bank accounts, and invest in businesses that will take care of you, especially if your home country is at war and your currency is losing its value. You've got to be smart with your money during wartime. That's not just our opinion, it's straight from Warren Buffett himself. He once said, "If we went into some very major war, the value of money would go down." History shows us that money loses its value during wars, so keeping a stash of cash isn't wise. Instead, there are 2 things you need to focus on: having purchasing power, which means earning in multiple currencies if you're wealthy, and having diverse sources of income. For example, if your rental properties or hair salons aren't making much money during a crisis, you need other streams of income to rely on. Now, let's talk about where billionaires put their money during uncertain times. Firstly, Europe offers safe havens like Switzerland, Luxembourg, or Portugal. Secondly, Mexico can be a good bet, especially if you need a quick escape from the US. Moving south could mean a better and more affordable lifestyle. Thirdly, Dubai is attractive for its zero taxes and strategic location for access to Asia. Fourthly, islands like Australia or New Zealand tend to weather catastrophes well and can be stable investment spots. Expanding on that, within a heartbeat or a mere 5 seconds, consider Singapore. It provides access to Asian markets without handing over the majority of your wealth to the Chinese Communist Party. Well, that's the current scenario at least. While I'm discussing investing abroad in this video, it could genuinely become the lifeline that enables you and your loved ones to escape the conflict and sustain yourselves far from the turmoil. What's crucial here is how swiftly you can relocate your family to a secure refuge. Suddenly, those helicopters and private jets seem like a much more sensible investment, don't they? Helicopters, jets, and motorcycles. When a full-on war breaks out, the last place you want to be is stuck in traffic in a crowded city. Forget everything else. Grab your kids, a couple of sentimental items, your important documents, and head straight for the helipad. The goal is to reach a private airport as swiftly as possible in case of war. Motorcycles reign supreme over cars in times of crisis due to their agility, just like in every apocalypse movie you've seen. Picture this: a long line of abandoned cars on the highway exits. During wartime, major airports become overrun, and your best chance of escaping is through a small, independent airport operated privately. Here's where the super rich show their savvy. They invest in war insurance. This means they pay private security firms an annual fee for priority access to emergency evacuation infrastructure, ensuring they're whisked away as quickly as possible. Interestingly, many things that seem like extravagant luxuries for the rich also double as emergency facilities. Yachts and super yachts. People often mock the super rich for shelling out hundreds of millions for these colossal vessels. However, they're not just extravagant toys, they're escape pods. Imagine if the mainland becomes uninhabitable. You simply hop on your boat and sail away. These yachts are equipped with all the amenities of a five-star hotel: water filtration, solar power, satellite connections, and an abundance of fish for sustenance. With proper water management, you could technically survive at sea indefinitely or until you reach safety. Sure, they're costly to maintain, but think of a super yacht as a mobile home. You can take your entire family with you without leaving anything behind. Your family is already familiar with the layout, which can ease the mental strain of enduring a war. Now, if you could choose any destination for survival, where would you have the highest chance of making it through? Buying islands or land in New Zealand. Have you ever played the game Plague? If so, you know the importance of islands during a pandemic or biological war. That's why many billionaires invest in islands for themselves. The tech elite of Silicon Valley have snapped up islands in Hawaii. British billionaires own islands worldwide, and some of the wealthiest individuals have acquired land and homes in New Zealand. Why New Zealand? Because it offers the chance to go fully off-grid and self-sustaining. Water purification systems, electric batteries, diesel generators, solar roofs, you name it, it's available for purchase. Sure, it might cost a pretty penny to make these places habitable and sustainable in the long run. But once you do, you're not just stranded on an island escaping war. You've arrived in paradise, away from it all. But beyond the logistics, it's crucial to consider how you and your family will mentally cope with the situation and the lasting impact it may have on your psyche. After all, your well-being is paramount, which brings us to the next point: access to privileged information. Whenever something significant is brewing, a select few individuals get wind of it before the rest of us. Just take a cue from how Nancy Pelosi handles stocks. Information holds value, and those who act swiftly often fare better. It's akin to what happened during World War II, when those who sensed danger early managed to escape Germany. Rich folks operate similarly. They're always on the move. Think back to the last pandemic and how the wealthy reacted. As soon as COVID-19 broke out in China, they were already making moves. Those islands and holiday homes suddenly became invaluable when the world went into lockdown. It's a reminder of the power of foresight and access to critical information in times of crisis. Guns and ammo. When tensions rise and conflicts loom, not only do investors in weapons manufacturing stand to profit, but the demand for firearms also skyrockets with each alarming news update on TV. Fear drives people to arm themselves, and the wealthy are no exception. They stock up on high-end firearms, armor their vehicles, fortify their properties, and invest in round-the-clock security. While they may not personally pull the trigger, they have the financial means to authorize such actions. In times of uncertainty, having access to firepower provides a sense of security, even for the affluent. Satellite communications and private internet. In today's interconnected world, many of us rely heavily on the grid for communication. But what happens when that grid fails? When the lights stay off, the phone signals disappear, and you can no longer order food delivery? This is where direct satellite technology becomes crucial, and love him or hate him, Elon Musk's Starlink is revolutionizing the game. Did you know that there are currently 4,550 satellites orbiting the Earth? SpaceX owns the largest number of satellites, dwarfing even China's satellite count. In times of conflict, maintaining communication infrastructure is key to success. Wealthy billionaires understand this and invest in projects like Starlink to safeguard their influence and protect their assets. While Starlink may seem costly upfront, its value becomes apparent when traditional communication channels falter. Thank you for sticking with us until now, and for that, I'll leave you with a bonus. It's become glaringly obvious that mainstream media isn't always your friend. They have their own agendas, take sides, and manipulate the narrative to fit those agendas. However, The beauty of technology lies in its ability to provide a platform for both sides to be heard. It's clear to see the pain and suffering inflicted by all parties involved, while those responsible often go unpunished. While today's discussion might have started off lighthearted, recent events have shaken us to our core. They've led us to make a personal vow to shield our children and families from the trauma and suffering that accompany war. We hope for the same for you, dear viewer. Stay safe, express your love to those close to you, and never let hatred dictate your actions. If you're watching this and stand against war, drop the word love in the comments. It might sound cheesy, but right now, the world could use a little more love.